you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Goffstown Zoning Board is an elected board of 5 members and up to 5 alternates appointed by the Zoning Board. Currently, the board has 5 elected members and 2 alternates. If anyone is interested in serving on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, please contact the Planning or Zoning Office at Town Hall for more information. The board has a posted agenda for each meeting and tends to follow the items in order. The board will open the public hearing on an application to receive testimony from applicants, abutters, and affected parties, and ask questions about the appeal. The public hearing will then be closed, and the board will enter into a deliberative session to discuss the merits of the appeal. For each application, the board will decide to approve with conditions, deny, or continue the public hearing to a later meeting. You are welcome to watch the deliberations this evening, or you can call the zoning department at 603-497-8990, extension 815 to get the results. For an applicant's request to be approved, there must be an affirmative vote of at least 3 members. An applicant can request a continuance if there is not a full 5-member board to act on an application. If you are aggrieved by a decision made by the Zoning Board of Adjustment tonight, you have the right to appeal to the Superior Court or the New Hampshire Housing Appeals Board. However, before appealing, you must request a rehearing with this board to preserve your right to appeal. Rehearing requests must be filed within 30 days of the decision and state all reasons why the decision was unlawful or unreasonable. Failure to request a rehearing may forfeit your ability to appeal. At this time, we'll go and do our board introductions.
John Delvo, member.
Leonard Stewart, member.
Kristen Dawes, alternate.
Jason Cody, Vice Chairman.
Chris Leach, alternate.
And Derek Horn, Town Administrator, serving as staff liaison.
And because we have 2 board members missing tonight, I will appoint Chris and Kristen to be voting members of the board this evening. Okay, so first on the agenda are the approval for the minutes from the May 6th meeting. Any corrections?
Yes, I was no longer chairman to call the meeting to order. I suggest a correction in the first line of the minute saying Vice Chairman Jason Cody called the meeting to order. That's the only thing I have.
Anyone else? That was the only thing I saw too. We have a motion to approve with the changes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So I'm going to quickly swap over to the correspondence section because it expressly goes into the first hearing that we're going to have on the agenda here. We did receive a request from the applicant to continue to the July 1st, 2025 meeting, the first hearing on the agenda. So that is just entered into the minutes. And if anybody would like to make the motion to continue the application.
Right, I'll also motion that we waive the full reading of the notice, given the fact that the applicant has requested a continuance, and I move that we continue the hearing to the July 1st, 25 meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So that hearing will be on July 1st, 2025. So we'll go to the second item on the agenda. Lisa Mazzini and Shelby Brown, owners applicants, are seeking a variance to allow for the construction of a 14-foot by 24-foot carport that will be attached to the existing home that will be approximately 2 feet from the side property line, whereas a 15-foot setback is required per section 4.3, the table of dimensional regulations of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 446 Elm Street, map 5, lot 24-1-3, zone residential -1. Is anybody representing here? Okay,
No, first one is this.
so, yeah, it's the first time I've seen that too. So I guess the first thing I'll ask is if there is a motion for regional impact.
I make a motion that there is no regional impact on this application.
Someone second.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So just a quick question, because this is new to me too. Do we need to read anything into the minutes? I mean, everything is part of the request, right? So,
You do not need to read anything from the application. You can reference that the application is part of the public record. And so,
the application is indeed part of the public record, thank you. Okay,
The question, and I guess this is one for Derek, is should we, without anyone here to represent the applicant, you know, should we properly act on it? Should we, again, boot this hearing over to the next meeting? The staff received no communication from the applicant that they would not be
no, nothing.
present, correct?
Correct, nothing was communicated to me, and I did make Patty aware today that I'd be covering the meeting. Normally, yes, we would, normally the zoning board would continue the public hearing to the next meeting because if there were any concerns or issues brought up by abutters or interested parties, then the applicant may not necessarily have the ability to respond to those concerns. So usually we do, and I think it actually says on the application, we do recommend that they attend the meeting so that they can present the application.
that was my question, because it's a recommendation, but I didn't think it was a requirement. So.
Oh, see, that's.
Usually it's either the applicant or some legal representative.
A representative.
Somebody needs to present the case.
They acknowledge that they bear the burden of presenting the evidence that is sufficient to enable ZBA to reach conclusion and make findings sufficient to support the action requested. So there's nothing that requires them by law to be here. Typically they are.
So I guess the only thing that I'm thinking is we have a member of the public that's here. I think it would be fair to at least let them address this without closing the public hearing after.
Okay.
Sir, did you want to have any input on this?
No, I actually know her and I tried calling her.
Oh, well, thank you.
She's not returning my text or call.
Okay
I
then,
don't know if
so
something bad happened to her. She's
I hope not.
a really reliable person, so this is a need.
So I guess I would open up to the pleasure of the board.
I would think it would be advisable that we put this over to the next meeting. I'm not comfortable without some sort of a presentation or presence by the applicant on acting on this.
I second that.
Is that-
Well, if you want me to put that in the form of a motion,
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have.
I move that we continue this public hearing to the July 1st, 2025 meeting, and, you know, hopefully it be communicated to the applicant that they or some representative need to be present to present their case at that meeting.
I will second that.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Did you want to discuss? Sorry, I should have said discussion first.
No, I think it makes sense. Because we can't ask questions back and forth. If we have questions on the application, there's no one to ask. So it's either guess and make a decision without them, or allow them to at least have a communication saying, no, I think I don't need to be there, and then we could do that.
That would be at their own
yeah.
peril, but again, okay.
Kind of thinking worst case scenario, if this happens again next month.
Well, I think that we should, that in that case, Denise will get to make that call.
I can have Patty reach out to the applicant and ask them to, at a minimum, confirm that they do not wish to present and that they feel that they've presented everything in their application. So we can at least get that confirmation on the record, and then if they choose to do that.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions just on the design of how they were gonna put their post at 2 feet from the property line. And there's different ways of attacking that where it would disturb the butter, you know what I mean? So I had a few questions on that, but other than that, it was pretty cut and dry.
Okay.
I agree, yeah.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Now we've had the discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So that would be the agenda for this evening.
Okay,
If anybody would care to add anything or motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second?
I heard
Nope,
Chris say
okay,
aye.
yep, there you
Yeah.
go.
So, motion, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you and have a great evening.